keep it in play, but the vision from Andre Gomez to be admired.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that was almost one of the best passes of the season. He's turned that onto his right foot. What a strike. He just drilled it chest height the whole way, and again, he's probably a yard from it being the perfect ball.
He's on loan from Barcelona, Andre Gomez. Barcelona parted with £35 million to sign him from Valencia a couple of years ago. I'm sure Everton would love to make that deal permanent in the summer if they could, but Spurs have been sniffing around as well. Going down the line, Kolasinac will get his body between Richarlison and the ball and shepherd it behind for a goal kick.
He plays that role nicely, Gomez. He's not the quickest of players, but he just sits in there. We spoke about Pickford being in a quarterback position. He sits in there in that position. He's got such good distribution. You know, he can play it to either flank, as we saw there. Different trajectories, different pace. Very impressive.
And Everton have been very impressive so far in the opening 27.5 minutes here on Premier League Live. They lead Arsenal by 1-0. Socrates to Monreal. Arsenal had those early moments of danger, but they haven't really created a decent opportunity yet in nearly half an hour. Bernard goes back to Pickford. It's a long whack up towards Calvert-Lewin again. And he's got the Arsenal centre-back so concerned that they sandwich him and knock him down to the deck. The referee shakes his head this time, but every time Everton fire a long ball up towards Calvert-Lewin, it looks as though the Arsenal centre-backs are scared.
This is it. It's not particularly cultured, but it works. You know, I think tactically Everton have got this spot on. They're putting a lot of pressure on those two centre-backs, and at the moment they're struggling to deal with it.
Ozil, he's dropping into a defensive midfield role at the moment to try and help Arsenal move forward. Mustafi to Ozil again, just inside the Arsenal half. Over halfway he goes. Lacazette turns it out to Maitland-Niles. Challenged tightly by Digne. Bernard got on the ball, looks to dribble clear of Maitland-Niles, who was all over him like a rash, throwing himself down to the floor, putting in a sliding challenge as well, and still not getting the ball. And you can hear the appreciation of the Goodison Park faithful for the efforts of Bernard to cling on to it, but Everton have since given it away. Here's Leno in the Arsenal goal, out to Monreal. This is where Everton will press, Richarlison and Sigurdsson. And Leno gets the ball away, greeted by the head of Jagielka, up towards Richarlison. Monreal tight and tenacious on him as well. Richarlison knocked down to the floor, kept hold of the ball and then eventually lost it. But he helps Idrissa Gueye pick up the loose ball, and Everton back in possession. And the home fans are really appreciating not just the quality of Everton's play so far, but their fighting characteristics as well.
Excellent performance, and communication's great. The amount of times they do that full press and they all go, and Arsenal had nowhere to go. Leno just had to punt it long, and once again Everton have possession of the football. Andre
Gomez, a bit of space to pick his head up and look towards Digne on this near side. The two former Barcelona men combining. Maitland-Niles has gone down after an inadvertent collision with Digne, but the play goes on with Elneny on this near side. He passes infield to Ozil. The space is on the far side if Arsenal can shift it that way. Everton themselves shifting across to that side as well. And in the end, a terrible cross from Kolasinac. It was high and comfortably over the top.
At the moment, you can't see a way in which Arsenal are going to get back into this game. You know, Everton seem to have their number at the moment. I mean, the amount of times that we spoke about it, they'll just go so direct, pumping down the throats of the two centre-backs, and they are so scared of Calvert-Lewin. It's causing all sorts of issues, and Everton know that this direct style of play is working for them.
Do remember you can get in touch with us on Twitter at TalkSport Live. We've heard from Zezege Nash, who says listening from Nigeria, where it's raining heavily, and it says keep up the good work. The good work so far here has been Everton's. 31 minutes in, they lead Arsenal by 1-0. Phil Jagielka after just 10 minutes. Goal kick for Pickford that's long again towards the head of Calvert-Lewin. It bounces past him towards Richarlison. Calvert-Lewin gets his left foot to the bouncing ball first. Coleman tries to move it infield where it's intercepted by Mkhitaryan, but Everton pinch it back high in Arsenal territory again. Andre Gomez now to Digne. Digne, who is an £18 million summer signing from Barcelona. Andre Gomez here, who's on loan from Barca. Now Gay, back to Andre Gomez again. Zuma. Everton moving the ball nicely now. Bernard was hugging this near touchline and then looked to make his move for the ball over the top. And forces Mustafi to clear. To the feet of Ozil. Again, Arsenal can't get out to their own half here. Gay moves it forward. Richarlison moves it across to Coleman, who's forward from right back. Gay pressed by El Neni. Happy to go back to Jagielka, who goes all the way back to Pickford.
This is as good as Everton display that I've seen this season. They really look like they're on it. The fans are very much behind them, moving the ball at pace. Very impressive.
They have won back-to-back Premier League games for just the second time all season. 2-0 at West Ham last week, and Chelsea 2-0 here before the international break. Before those two wins, they'd won just one of the previous 6. It's been an up-and-down rollercoaster ride of a campaign, but Everton finding form at just the right time. It's taken time for the many new additions to bed themselves in, and taken time for the new manager to find the right set of players for any given situation.
Well, this is it. If this is a sign of things to come for Everton, then it could be really exciting back into the season, and certainly going into next season, because a lot of the signs today, they've been mixing up their play very nicely, moving the ball well, and they have got those different outlets. We've touched on Calvert-Lewin a few times, but he really has been excellent this first half.
Here's Lacazette. 33 minutes gone. Arsenal have had just one shot at goal. It was off target. They'll try and get another one here. Kolasinac into the box, cleared away by Jagielka, and out for a throw-in on the far side. And Lacazette is down hurt for the second time in this first half.
Now and again, he looks like in a bit of pain. It's something you touch on, though, that it's now 3 times that Arsenal players have been down with an injury. I don't think there's a great deal that's happened there. Gomez, bit of obstruction. He's holding his neck. I think he might have just caught his neck. I don't think it'll be anything too serious. Might just have winded him maybe slightly. But the point being that Everton physically are standing up to Arsenal. I think Arsenal are struggling to deal with it, to be honest.
Not albeit maybe a foul. Had the referee not played advantage, it was the perfect illustration of Everton's strength so far, because Andre Gomez just rooted both of his feet down to the turf, and Lacazette ran into him and got knocked down and ended up hurt. Tremendous challenge again from Idrissa Gueye on the edge of his own D. Andre Gomez to lead the counter-attack down the line, plenty of space to gallop into for Calvert-Lewin. Out on this left flank now. He'll pick his head up and look for options in the box. Drills it in towards Sigurdsson. It's headed away by Guendouzi. And Arsenal appealing for a free kick. On the edge of their own penalty area, don't get one. Gay to Jagielka, out to the far side. They'll try down the right flank now with Coleman. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Richarlison. Andre Gomez back to Jagielka. And back to Jordan Pickford, their playmaker. He hands it long with that very accurate left boot towards the head of Calvert-Lewin again. Guendouzi flicks it up into the air. Sigurdsson and Andre Gomez battling away, but Guendouzi emerges with the ball. Maitland-Niles on this near side. Just one attempt on goal from Arsenal in 35 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not surprising. Everton have been at it since, I say, pretty much the 3rd or 4th minute. Arsenal did start very brightly, but since then it has been all Everton. You can't really see how Arsenal are going to break down this Everton team.
Everton looking for a win that would put them just 1 point behind both Wolves and Leicester for that last Europa League spot.
I mean, Unai Emery's going to have to make some changes at half-time. We've got 10 minutes until half-time. The worry will be that this lead may increase, but if it doesn't, he will have to make some changes at half-time, you'd feel.
Arsenal on the attack now, just off the corner of the penalty area. Mkhitaryan tried to squeeze it in towards Lacazette. Gay was very adept at reading the situation and reacting quickly again. Clears away for a throw-in on the far side. You have to say Watford and West Ham still very much in that battle as well. 5 teams going for 7th, although the advantage is with Wolves and Leicester. Everton breathing right down their necks. Lacazette out to Maitland-Niles. He gets a lovely ball in, but in the end it was too close to Pickford, who is quick to pounce off his line.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. It's a nice ball in from Maitland-Niles. tried to find the area of uncertainty, very similar to the ball we saw yesterday, the goal from Man City. Couldn't quite keep it far enough away from Pickford, and he was able to gather.
Everton go long down the right flank. Richarlison, he's shaken off the attentions of Monreal comfortably, but then he couldn't control the ball on the sideline.
I think he might have hurt himself. Strange on that, because it was a really poor bit of control from Richarlison, but I think it might have had something to do with a slight injury that he picked up when rolling the defender.
He certainly doesn't look comfortable now as he hobbles away. Monreal have been beaten. I'm having a look at the replay here. He takes a sloppy touch and then seems to pull up hurt. Maybe want to just save embarrassment.
Yeah, it might have just been an excuse.
Guendouzi. Intercepted by Bernard. A poor ball out from the Arsenal half. Andre Gomez, it opens up for him. Here's Sigurdsson from 25 yards. Tried to shake one as it bobbled up in front of him. He went for the cultured attempt with the inside of his right boot. Instead it was straight down the line of sight of Leno.
Guendouzi will be very happy. Gave the ball away very sloppily. That's one of the features, certainly, of Arsenal's play so far. They've given the ball away way too many times in their defensive third. The amount of times that Everton have gone direct and also picked up second balls, it's just been far too easy for Everton to get possession of the ball in Arsenal's defensive third.
Here's Ozil trying to turn now, shifting it away from Andre Gomez, flicking it past Gylfi Sigurdsson, and then he across to the far side where it was intercepted by the head of Coleman. Richarlison will go down the line. Calvert-Lewin looking to hold the ball up again, dribbling back into his own half. Runners going on beyond him now. Andre Gomez was pressed though, otherwise he might have had the chance to release one of those runners, but Everton keeping their cool and their composure, moving it from right to left and finding where the space is. This time Andre Gomez just shift a long diagonal. Incredible pass. This time Richarlison catches up with it, cushions it back in. Calvert-Lewin trying to turn, and a vital intervention inside the penalty area for Arsenal.
Andre Gomez again, what a ball.
He's had 2 or 3 now that have been David Beckham-esque, hasn't he?
I just don't know where he's seen that from. The ball's come to him and he's swiveled, and it's with his left foot. And again he's just drilled this crossfield pass to perfection. It really does have a fantastic range of passing, Andre Gomez.
And he knows, doesn't he, that as soon as he receives the ball, he wants to look out to Richarlison on that far side. He hardly even looked up that time. He just knew what he was going to do.
There's certainly an understanding between the two. Yeah, certainly Richarlison, you might see the replay again, but certainly Richarlison knows exactly what's going on. And if he keeps finding that little corridor in behind the fullbacks, they really could hurt Arsenal with that.
I'm just seeing a replay of a challenge from Zuma on Lacazette. That I think happened after the offside flag had already been raised. Lacazette down for a 3rd time in this first half, but he's moving okay now. Ozil was knocked down to the turf as well on this near side, and he's not happy that no free kick was given. And Everton really have ruffled the feathers of Arsenal here. Idrissa Gueye with an ambitious ball long over the top, and in the end way too far beyond Richarlison this time.
But again, they are trying to find that pocket in behind the fullback. Richarlison's been the outlet so many times this afternoon.
Arsenal clearing long under the high press of Everton and ceding possession straight back to the Blues. Zuma to Pickford. Hammer of a swipe from Pickford again, this time greeted by the head of Mustafi. Zuma will take it down under pressure from Ozil, moves it on to Gueye. Now Jagielka. Flips one forward towards Richarlison once more, and he's being held back. Monreal just cannot deal with him, and Everton have taken a quick free kick, releasing Richarlison down the line. There's 4 blue shirts in the penalty area, and the sliding challenge from Socrates was absolutely last-ditch defending to turn the ball behind for a corner.
Arsenal players aren't happy at how quick the free kick was allowed to be taken. for a start, they weren't happy with the free kick being given, but it was really quick thinking. I think it was Sigurdsson who has then released Richarlison down that right wing. We spoke about it, and Everton have 5 players in the box to Arsenal's 3, but he just couldn't find the right pass. And that's probably been the one criticism of Richarlison's play so far this afternoon, has been the final delivery.
Yeah, he's had the opportunities to do the damage, but hasn't really made the most of them just yet. But every time Everton get the ball out to him on that far side, he seems to be in space. We've had to settle for a corner this time. Digne's in swinger towards the near post, headed away, only as far as Sigurdsson on the edge of the box. Back over to Digne. He'll try and manufacture room for the left-footed cross that was charged down, and Arsenal might have the opportunity to counter-attack now with Lacazette. Sandwiched by Sigurdsson and Bernard, but he hurdles both challenges. And then Zuma gets back at him and gives away the free kick. On halfway. And Everton were really hunting in packs then. As soon as Arsenal had the chance to break, Lacazette barely had a chance to pick his header.
Yeah, it's good play from Lacazette to wriggle out of that, but again, it's showing how deep he's having to come in order to pick up the football at the moment.
As soon as he wriggled away from 2 challenges, the next one hit him.
Yeah, which has been it's been a sign of Everton's play all afternoon. So committed in the challenges, and again, they've really shook Arsenal.
Almost 43 minutes on the clock at Goodison Park. Everton 1, Arsenal 0. Here on Premier League Live. Guendouzi out to Maitland-Niles, hugging this near touchline. Arsenal back into their own half to Mustafi. Socrates at the heart of the back 3 to Monreal. He's had a torrid time in this first half trying to deal with Richarlison. Okay, sliding to block the passing lane. Richarlison back defending as well, getting Everton into possession. Andre Gomes, a really smart turn to try and evade the challenge of Guendouzi, who gets back at him but concedes the free kick. You can tell that Arsenal are really frustrated here, can't you? They've had very little joy, and every time they give away a free kick, the players are protesting. They've just been really rattled by the approach of Everton.
They have. I just wonder what their plan B is. They're not getting a lot of success in the way they're playing. Everton are finding it quite easy to sit behind the ball. They're dangerous on the counter-attack. Plus, they have got the option of going direct. They're really mixing up the play well, whereas Arsenal are a little bit one-dimensional at the moment. They're not getting any joy in the way that they're trying to play.
Jagielka takes the free kick and goes long. Can't quite connect with Digne that time. But given the tenacity of Everton's play, that was just their second foul in the first half. Arsenal have committed 5. Trying to rise to the challenge of that physical game, but failing.
Exactly that. It's not that Everton have been dirty. It's just been really committed challenges. A lot of very good challenges too.
Trezeguet with another one to get it back, and then he does very swiftly commit Everton's 3rd foul of the half.
Yeah, they're going to start adding to that on a regular basis now that you've jinxed it, I think.
Final seconds of this first 45. There'll probably be a couple of minutes added, given we've had a few stoppages for injuries here.
I do wonder whether Aubameyang might be an option at half-time, just to try and change things up a little bit.
And we've just got a camera shot of the Arsenal bench. Plenty of firepower on there. Aaron Ramsey as well. Alex Iwobi, the other player who dropped out from Monday's win at Newcastle. And right at the end of the first 45 minutes. Arsenal moving the ball, but only across their back line at the moment, as Ozil drops back in front of the back 3. Moves it out towards Mustafi. We're going to have 2 added minutes at the end of the first 45. Flicked out towards Maitland-Niles, on towards Mkhitaryan, and Idrissa Gueye is right on top of him again. And Pickford will just hammer clear. Nodded down by Digne, steered away by Maitland-Niles. Digne gets a volley clearance to the ball this time. Bernard is the latest Everton player trying to ping a crossfield pass to Richarlison, but not in the same quality as Andre Gomes before him. Guendouzi gives the ball away. Poor pass towards Mkhitaryan. Here is Andre Gomes. Dinks the ball over the top to Coleman over on the far side. He's got Richarlison down the line, but comes in field to Andre Gomes. He goes on to Richarlison. Calvert-Lewin in the box. Sigurdsson arriving, but he's held up on the far side by Kolasinac. No free kick that time for a challenge on Richarlison, and Arsenal will come forward into the second of those 2 added minutes at the end of the first 45. Mkhitaryan, Idrissa Gueye gets a foot in. How many times has he won the ball back here? Idrissa Gueye doing such a valuable job for Everton.
Yeah, no, mean, he's been highlighted a lot this season for the job that he does. The amount of times he breaks up play. Top player.
He's moved the ball onto Digne here as well. Just off the corner of the penalty area, Bernard outside of it. The final seconds of added time at the end of the first half here. Digne in field. Trezeguet goes square. Sigurdsson, will it open up for him to shoot? Creates half a yard of space, and then he's closed down at the last moment by Mustafi. He deflects to Coleman, who hangs the ball into the box, and trying the overhead kick was Richarlison. But if anything, it was probably too low to connect with. And Mkhitaryan will dribble clear here. Guendouzi, one final attack perhaps for Arsenal before the first half is through. Mkhitaryan dicks it across to the far side. He's headed away by Coleman. And that will do it for an exhilarating first 45 for Everton. The lead coming after just 10 minutes through Phil Jagielka, who was a late replacement for the injured Michael Keane in the starting lineup. His first goal in nearly 2 years. And Everton have thoroughly deserved their lead over Arsenal at Goodison. Half-time, Everton 1, Arsenal 0. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. Is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Has a run of Sterling to find, and he does find him in the area. Raheem Sterling for a hat-trick here! And the hat-trick is gobbled up by Raheem Sterling. What a player this young man is.
Tries to play it forward. Hayward puts it up in the air. Comes down. Chance for 3-2. It is 3-2. Perez scores again. Well, it's times to be a Geordie fan from 2-0 down to 3-2 up.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Really good delivery from Knockout. Here's the ball into the back of the net. And Antony has scored for Brighton. There is the breakthrough.
And Wolves win possession through Jimenez. Jimenez is going to go himself. There's another chance here. Go for 2-0 possibly. Jimenez! Raul Jimenez, 2-0 to Wolves. And Cardiff are now all at sea.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
This time Touch trying to find Lukaku. It's broken his way and Lukaku's bent it into the bottom corner for what may well prove to be the winning goal in the final minute of the 90.
He's usually unerring from the spot, Harry Kane. He's scored all his last 5 spot kicks. He faces Bernd Leno and scores again! And Tottenham Hotspur have levelled with 16 minutes to go. Harry Kane has now got 9 goals in 9 games against the Gunners. It's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Arsenal 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the Ultimate Football Fan Tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Everton against Arsenal from Goodison Park, and what an excellent first half from Everton. Taken down by Andre Gomez, but a heavy touch invites Arsenal to get on the ball for the first time. Slip through from Mkhitaryan to Lacazette. What a start this could be for Arsenal. Lacazette across the face of goal. Ozil to reach it, to keep it in play. And it had to be jabbed away at the near post and behind by Jagielka. Longing towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed up and headed down. A chance here for Jagielka. He's onside, he scored. Phil Jagielka, who only found out he was playing a few minutes before the game, comes in and slots into the back of the net. The 36-year-old's first goal in nearly 2 years, and the Toffees have early take-on against Arsenal, whose Champions League charge comes unstuck at Goodison. Richard Lee alongside me, Tim Long, for this one. Everton 1, Arsenal 0 at half-time. And Richard, Everton thoroughly deserved this lead. Perhaps the only surprise is they've not been able to add a second goal.
I've been hugely impressed with Everton, really. First and foremost, their work rate, determination. We mentioned the amount of crunching tackles that we've seen. 3 times Arsenal players have gone down with injuries. And that's not to say that Everton have been dirty by any means, just so committed in the challenge. And the thing that I think I like most about Everton is how they're mixing up what they do. We know that they can keep the ball and play some beautiful football, but actually they're not afraid to go direct at times. And Calvert-Lewin is causing all sorts of problems. They keep looking for that space in behind the fullbacks to get Richarlison in. Had Richarlison's quality been a bit better, then I think that lead could have been increased.
The plan has been perfect from Marco Silva, as you say. I'm not quite sure what the game plan from Arsenal is and how Unai Emery might change it for the second half.
No, the danger is that for all the attacks that they're looking to build, Everton do have the ability to counter-attack very, very quickly. You know, we've seen and we've touched on the fact that Pickford's something of a playmaker, and that's the problem for Arsenal. They'll have an attack. As soon as it breaks down, Everton could go up the other end within 2-3 seconds. And Arsenal defensively, the amount of times the ball has been pumped down the throat of the 2 centre-backs and they're not winning second balls. And Everton are gaining possession in Arsenal's defensive third far too often.
I think it was maybe around the 40th minute that I first said the name Gylfi Sigurdsson on the offensive end, because the players bypassed him so much, hasn't it?
Do you know what? It has, and the amount of times as well.
And that's not a negative, I must say.
No, you're spot on. It's been the case that the majority of the play has been played in the Arsenal defensive third. What Everton have done very cleverly, and this is where it comes down to organisation and communication, is that we've seen it several times. When one presses, they all press, and it's something when a team's playing well and you're confident and you're timing that well. Everton have won the ball back in attacking areas so many times, and some of the individual performances in there. We touched on a couple of the players. I've been really impressed with Bernard. Some of the touches and delivery has been very, very good. We mentioned Gay, and it just breaks up play so often for Everton. There have been certainly 7 or 8 outstanding performances in an Everton shirt.
So why on earth are Arsenal almost unbeatable at home, but yet they come away from home and put in this kind of a performance? It's a football pitch is a football pitch, is it not?
It is. I just feel at the moment they're a bit one-dimensional. They're trying to build attack after attack, but they don't have that outlet like Everton have, where they can go direct from time to time. We've seen how dangerous they've been from long throws in particular. Arsenal don't have that, so they have to try and build attacks, but they always run the risk that when they lose possession, they're liable to be counter-attacked upon. So I just think at the moment I can't see a way in which Arsenal get back into this. They're going to need to make a few changes, and they're probably going to need to go a little bit more direct, but I don't know if they've got that in the locker.
And the goal from Phil Jagielka did come, as you say, from one of those long throws after only 10 minutes. Arsenal really struggling to deal with the ball into the box. Not for the first time. They'd had a warning already, hadn't they, with a penalty claim from Everton. It has been one of the big thorns in their side, not just this season, but prior to this season as well, that they struggle to deal with balls into the box and set pieces.
Exactly that. You know, it's a team that, and Everton, this is where you've got to give Marco Silva some credit. He's done his homework and he's tried to figure out what's the best way that we can get at this Arsenal defence, and actually it's been a bit old school. You know, an old school long throw, pumping the ball down the middle. I mean, Pickford, the amount of times he's got it and he's distributed the ball quickly to try and catch them unawares. And unfortunately, the 2 centre-backs for Arsenal, they haven't got the pace that Calvert-Lewin's got. He's a physical presence as well, good in the air, and they've really struggled to deal with it.
This is our first live commentary of the day, and at the conclusion of this one, a huge game at Wembley, the second FA Cup semi-final. What an afternoon it will be for Watford and Wolves.
2-1 Watford!
Number 2, to achieve a semi-finals in Wembley is, I think we have to enjoy.
They're heading round the M25 to Wembley.
So number 3.
This is a chance. This is a wonderful goal. Surely now Wolverhampton Wanderers are going through to the semi-final.
We achieved it with the amazing support of our fans, pushing us and believing in, and the noise was fantastic.
We did have a little look ahead to that one before we kicked off at Goodison today, but just to mention it again, a huge game for both clubs, Richard. One of your old clubs in action at Wembley in Watford and taking on Wolves, who've had such a superb year. It's a scenario playing at Wembley that perhaps many of those players are not used to, and is it as much about handling the occasion and rising to the occasion as anything else?
I think it is, and I think certainly with these two teams, they've got some world-class players in both teams now, and I think, obviously knowing Watford's history as I do, it's been a long time since they made an FA Cup final back in the Graham Taylor, Elton John era. I was fortunate enough myself actually to play in a semi-final back in 2007, and we were beaten heavily by Manchester United, but certainly this is as good a chance as Watford are going to get to make a final. Both teams have experienced players, top quality players too, and as we've seen in the league, there's very little between the teams. It's going to be a fascinating lineup.
Manchester City await for one of them in the FA Cup final on the 18th of May, and we've seen, of course, that Manchester City in recent years can fall at the final hurdle, losing to Wigan not too long ago.
Exactly, and this is it. You actually, whether it is Watford or Wolves up against Man City on a one-off occasion, yes, of course, Man City will be favourites, but we know there's enough quality in both of those teams, and certainly with City, with the amount of different competitions they're in, whoever does win today, they have a serious chance of winning the FA Cup. We've seen Swansea, the danger that they created for Man City, and certainly they didn't cruise past Brighton yesterday. So again, it will be a very interesting final, whoever makes it. Indeed,
live commentary of that semi-final to come, but so too is the second half of this one from Goodison Park. Everton leading Arsenal by 1-0. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it. Oh, it's a goal. It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. It's the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Has a run of Sterling to find, and he does find him in the area. Raheem Sterling for a hat-trick here! And the hat-trick is gobbled up by Raheem Sterling. What a player this young man is.
Tries to play it forward. Hayward puts it up in the air. Comes down. Chance for 3-2. It is 3-2. Perez scores again. Well, it's times to be a Geordie fan from 2-0 down to 3-2 up.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Really good delivery from Knockout. Here's the ball into the back of the net. And Andone has scored for Brighton. There is the breakthrough.
And Wolves with possession from Jimenez. He's going to go himself. There's another chance here. Go for 2-0 possibly. Jimenez! Raul Jimenez, 2-0 to Wolves. And Cardiff are now all at sea.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
This time trying to find Lukaku. He's broken his way and Lukaku's bent it into the bottom corner for what may well prove to be the winning goal in the final minutes of the 90.
He's usually unerring from the spot, Harry Kane. He's scored all his last 5 spot kicks. He faces Bernd Leno and scores again! And Tottenham Hotspur have levelled with 16 minutes to go. Harry Kane has now got 9 goals in 9 games against the Gunners. It's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Arsenal 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the Ultimate Football Fan Tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Everton against Arsenal from Goodison Park. I'm your host, Tim Long. Alongside me, the former Watford and Brentford goalkeeper, Richard Lee. This is Premier League Live. Now, We're ready to start the second half, and it looks as though Unai Emery is going to his two big weapons on the bench already. Aaron Ramsey and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang set to come on. A double change at the half. We'll wait to see who's making way. Mohamed El-Neni is one of them.
Aaron Ramsey.
So that pretty much tells you, Richard, what Unai Emery thought of that first half.
Yeah, well, we called it. We said they had to make changes at half-time. We wondered whether Aubameyang and Ramsey would come on. I've got absolutely no surprises that he brought both on, because they were not in it first half at all. Everton could have been more than one up, probably should have been more than one up, but I think that's good management. It certainly will change the dynamic of this game, and we'll see if they can have an impact.
A change of personnel, how does it change the game tactically in terms of where those players will fit in? You'll get more dynamism from Ramsey in midfield versus El-Neni, and with Lacazette and Aubameyang up front, you've got two players who can run in behind.
You'd certainly think more attacking prowess, more options now up front. And look, they have to go for it. It was a bit prosaic at times in the first half from Arsenal's point of view, so certainly I would expect them to be a little bit more adventurous this half. Having the two lads up front, they can be that little bit more directive they need to be as well. So no, I'm certainly expecting a bit more from Arsenal this half.
Here's Monreal on the near side. And now a chance to burst forward straight away for Ramsey into a pocket of space, traced by his opposite number, Andre Gomez. Mkhitaryan now. Infield it goes to Monreal, who's got forward for the first time already in this second half. He wasn't in that position at any point in the first half. And the cross charge down on the near edge of the penalty area. A really positive start from Arsenal here, who win the corner.
Well, there you go. Ramsey's had an impact already, gets the ball up, drives forward with the ball. It just shows you something as simple as that, and it can make such a difference, and they've got a corner already.
It is a change to a back four for Arsenal, with Kolasinac going off and the extra attacking player coming on. So Monreal is at left back, and Ozil stays on and takes the outswinging corner towards the penalty spot. Maitland-Niles trying to trick his way past Gylfi Sigurdsson, and Sigurdsson dribbling clear, had a hand on his shoulder from Maitland-Niles, and that's going to be a free kick.
That's certainly a much more positive start from Arsenal this second half. And you think as well, in terms of leadership, that's a big part of it. Ramsey coming on, hopefully his groin wasn't too bad for the injury that he came off with in the last game. Hopefully it was just a precaution and he'll be fine. But that'll make a big difference, having his leadership qualities on the field.
Ramsey, Arsenal's second most creative player in the league this season, with 6 assists, 4 goals as well. Arsenal still have the problems at the back of dealing with those long balls forward from Everton, as Calvert-Lewin holds another one up and brings Coleman into play. Back it goes to Idrissa Gueye. Jagielka, the goal scorer, back to Pickford. Everton just happy to keep hold of it here, as Pickford then chips one over the head of Aubameyang straight to Digne. He cushions it back first time to Zuma. He gets the shout of man on in the form of Lacazette from behind as the home fans help him out. And Pickford goes long, looking for Calvert-Lewin. Sokratis not comfortable dealing with the long ball that was dropping out of the sky, and Arsenal get away with it. Ramsey moves it forward swiftly to Ozil, who's on the turn here. Aubameyang to his right, Lacazette in the centre, Mkhitaryan arriving as well. Aubameyang's cross, Ramsey's header might still come, punched away by Pickford, straight to the feet of Ramsey, who puts his hands to his head as he volleys over the top of the crossbar from 12 yards.
First serious opportunity, we've seen it already. Arsenal a little bit more direct in their play. Not the most convincing from Jordan Pickford. It was a difficult ball to deal with. He's tried to give it a one-fisted punch away, couldn't get the leverage on it that it needed. That's a serious opportunity, that, for Ramsey. He's only 12 yards out on the volley, and you can see how frustrated he is with himself. But that's the first serious opportunity that Arsenal have created in the second half.
He did score against Newcastle on Monday night, picked up the groin injury in that game and had to make way. Started on the bench today, but on for the start of the second half, and a chance to score inside the opening 3 minutes of it. He just needed to keep it down. He was leaning back and cushioned it over the top of the crossbar, with Pickford a little at sea. Richarlison thought that was an Everton throw on this near side, but it's gone Arsenal's way.
That's probably one of the criticisms of Jordan. We've seen some of the best of Jordan Pickford with his distribution today. He has struggled aerially this season and wasn't overly convincing. Positive in his decision making to come for the ball, but didn't quite execute the punch, and was fortunate that Ramsey couldn't finish it off.
He's not the tallest of goalkeepers, is he? 6 foot, I think.
No, and he tends to stay more often than not, and he's got central defenders that are good in the air, but certainly there he had to come. It was the right decision, but just didn't quite get the purchase on the punch.
Throwing to Everton about 20 yards from the corner flag on the near side, taken by Coleman. Andre Gomez, another really smart turn, and sees the picture of the field as well as he swiftly moves it across to Bernard without really even needing to get his head up. He seems to know where everybody is. He's trying to turn away from Ramsey here, but Ramsey puts in a foot and wins it back for Arsenal. Gomez will try and get back at him and commits the foul in the process. Now Everton were allowed to take a quick free kick in the first half. Arsenal tried to do that here at the start of the second, and the referee has stopped them.
I think he'll get a booking here, Gomez. That's a bit that lets him down, for the fact that he has got such good delivery, and certainly right foot, left foot, he can, fantastic delivery, fantastic distribution, but he's not the quickest player, and sometimes he does get caught on possession. That did happen there, and he decided that rather than allow Arsenal to have what would have been a dangerous attack, he decided to bring the player down and did pick up a yellow card.
Arsenal free kick about 10 yards inside the Everton half, 5 minutes into the second half, to be taken by Guendouzi. He'll just hang one in towards the far side of the penalty area. Zuma challenging in the air with Mustafi, and Everton clear away on the volley. Maitland-Niles, who remained back on halfway, gives it to Guendouzi. Mkhitaryan. Maitland-Niles again. Everton forced back inside their own half now. Much better from Arsenal in the opening 5 minutes or so of this second half. Monreal. Everton with everybody back behind the ball. Guendouzi across to Mustafi, who's playing as a two-man partnership at centre-back now, but still licensed to step forward over halfway. Down the line it goes to Ozil, who's running in behind. Can he pick out a teammate? Fantastic sliding intervention from Kurt Zuma, who then turns around and asks the question of the assistant on the far side, because Everton felt that Ozil was offside.
Already though, we're seeing a completely different game of football in the first half. Just bringing on those two substitutions, Ramsey in particular, has made such a positive change for Arsenal.
And one of the things he's done is get right on top of Andre Gomez, who was pinging those passes about in the first half. Zuma gets his head to the corner, it drops to Ramsey here on his left foot, and he was being closed down on a tight angle in the penalty area. In the end, he swipes it about 6 or 7 yards wide.
Yeah, poor finish on the half volley on his left foot. It was a tight angle, but you'd have expected him to do better. But what that is for me, and that's intelligence, and you talk about the fact that he's on Andre Gomez, which he is. He's a really intelligent player. Even that there, you see him drift to the far post, predicting where the ball's going to go. That's one of the biggest strengths of Aaron Ramsey. Very, very clever footballer.
It was a long way wide of the target, but in the 52nd minute, that was just Arsenal's second shot on goal.
Yeah. Well, technically, I guess if you count the volley that Aaron Ramsey had a few minutes ago, he's already had 2 attempts in the space of 6-7 minutes in this second half.
They're yet to get one on target. They have had 71% of the second half possession, though. Not just the change in personnel, but the change in shape has really helped them so far.
Well, this is it. You touched on the fact that he's closing down Gomez, so the production line all of a sudden isn't as free as it was in the first half. They're going to struggle to stop the direct balls up to Calvert-Lewin. That's still going to be a bit of an issue, but already they've certainly limited the options that Everton did have.
Mustafi goes sliding across to the far side and concedes a throw halfway inside the Arsenal half as Everton launch one of those long balls forward. But that's it. The start of the Everton attacks in the first half were either long balls forward from Andre Gomez or long balls forward from Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, exactly that. Very direct. But again, Ramsey, I guess as well, when you've been on the bench, you'll be able to see the play unfold for 45 minutes, and you're coming on, you're that little bit fresher than everyone else. He has had a big impact already.
Ozil takes it down on the far side, but Digne gets right back on him with a strong shoulder to shoulder, and Gay moves it clear. Bernard trying to get down the left flank, but can't beat Maitland-Niles. Now Leno is pressed by Calvert-Lewin. Tries to pick out Aubameyang on the near side, but Seamus Coleman was right on top of him and gets a chance to cross now. Instead he pulls it back. Richarlison scuffs his cross. Calvert-Lewin, a chance for Sigurdsson edge of the box, but he couldn't quite reel it in. Danger still not away. Bernard slips though, and it looks like he might have hurt himself. The play will go on for now. Sigurdsson fires over the top from 30 yards, but there's a real concern over Bernard here.
Bernard's hurt. That was a horrible way in which he's gone down.
It wasn't a challenge from an Arsenal player. He just crumbled under the ball, didn't he?
He just buckled. I mean, hopefully it's not serious, but the way they went down instantly, I've seen players go down like that before and end up getting serious knee injuries, and it's a nasty one. But yeah, he's just slipped on the turf. Simple as that. And Sigurdsson is half chance, by the way, for Sigurdsson, someone with his ability to shoot from 20-25 yards, but he just couldn't quite keep it down. Looks like Bernard's okay.
And that's really good to see, because it did look like it could have been a nasty one. His leg really crumpled underneath his body as one of his legs gave way on the slippy surface, but Bernard is okay and he's right back in the thick of the action. Mustafi to Socrates. Arsenal dominating possession in the second half, but still yet to really test Jordan Pickford 10 minutes in to this second period. Calvert-Lewin battling away and holding the ball up so adeptly again. Coleman pressed, and Everton win the throw on the near side. Seamus Coleman will take it. The player who, of course, himself has come back from a severe injury and done so well to become first choice right back again. Here's Sigurdsson. Calvert-Lewin trying to slip it forward to Coleman, who'd gone on. Arsenal giving it away. Creators of their own downfall at the moment as Andre Gomez goes across to the far side. Bernard hooks it back, trying to connect with a couple of Everton shirts on the edge of the box, but Ramsey was in between them to get on the ball and to shift it out to Ozil, who can start the counter-attack here over on the far side. The space is on the near side and Ozil recognises that. Mkhitaryan does as well, but his pass was poor towards Aubameyang, who has come in to start on the left of the attack in this second half, and it was fizzed a couple of yards in front of him and out of play for a throw.
Yeah, poor pass. It was good up to then as well. Nice quick break from Arsenal. It was probably the easiest pass of the lot as well, but he just overcooked it. It's gone out for a throw.
We didn't really see anything going forward in the first half from Mkhitaryan or Ozil, did we? It's been a little better since half-time, but Everton still have a certain degree of control.
Yeah, well, certainly after the first 5 or 6 minutes in this half, Ramsey had a real impact early on in the half, but Everton have come back into it the last 5 minutes or so, and the game settled down a little bit.
Mustafi. Guendouzi, the one to drop between the two centre-backs to receive the ball. Socrates now. Everton happy to sit back behind the ball. They're in a 4-4-2 shape now, Everton, defensively. Mkhitaryan to the far side. Maitland-Niles gets the low cross in towards Lacazette at the near post, and Zuma was there on the stretch to turn it behind for a corner. The corner for Arsenal on the far side as they attack the goal across to our left at Goodison.
You could argue that in the first 12 minutes this half, Arsenal have done more and certainly have more corners, more shots on goal than they did in the entire first 45.
That swinger from Mkhitaryan. Two players challenging at the back post, Mustafi and Socrates, the two centre-backs, but Everton just about getting bodies in the way to avert the danger. It looked as though it was going to be 2-on-1 challenging in the air momentarily, and a header from 5 or 6 yards out, but Arsenal couldn't quite get over the top with one of those two players of the Everton defender and get a clean connection on the ball. And they'll start again from the back. Mustafi's pass intercepted, but it ricocheted to Ozil. Mkhitaryan can turn with about 10 yards ahead of him, shifts it out to Maitland-Niles. A sturdy, robust challenge from Digne straight away. Arsenal seem to be winning the 50-50s though in terms of where the ball is breaking as it comes straight back to them. Aubameyang, Ozil, that's something that certainly wasn't happening in the first half. Socrates left alone in the centre circle. Mustafi. He dinks a ball in from deep towards Lacazette, who was getting in behind of Jagielka and trying to generate the power on the header at the same time as holding off the Everton defender, and in the end he couldn't quite glance it enough as Pickford just stepped a yard or two off his line and picked it up.
Yeah, no, it's half chance. Good ball from Mustafi over the top. I just wonder if he could have let it come down for a volley. It might have been a very tough technique, but it was always going to be tough.
Oh, that's a stray header. In behind here, a chance for 2 for Everton. Stopped by Leno. Still kept in play, though, by Bernard, who was down on the floor. Chipped back in by Sigurdsson. The header away to the edge of the box. Picked up here by Calvert-Lewin, trying to get away from Guendouzi. And Arsenal survive as he takes the ball back.
Maitland-Niles is a lucky boy.
A horrible moment for the Arsenal right-back, who tried to head the ball back to his goalkeeper and didn't generate anywhere near enough power.
No, he's a lucky man. He's tried to head it back, but it's a bad header. It's come off the top of his head. It's good goalkeeping. Leno didn't commit himself, come up, made himself very, very big. Made it tough for Bernard. Bernard probably should do a little bit better, though.
Everton coming forward again. Richarlison almost slipped in Calvert-Lewin. Near edge of the penalty area, faced by Socrates. Coleman to offer support on the overlap, gets in behind towards the byline, where it's intercepted at the near post by Nacho Monreal.
Clever from Richarlison, very clever, lovely little ball. Yeah, and Everton certainly has been a good few minutes for them.
You can hear the home fans turning up the volume as well at Goodison Park as we approach the hour mark. Only Everton's second corner of the game. Arsenal have had 5. Let's see if they can test Arsenal with a set piece again, as they did in the first half via a number of long throws. Sigurdsson to take it, out swinging from the near side as they attack the goal across to our right. It's headed away at the near post, back towards the taker, Sigurdsson, and he'll let it bounce behind for another corner. Arsenal surely can't afford to concede a second here. Everton with 6 blue shirts in the penalty area. Sigurdsson takes it again, gets more distance on it this time, and it was met by the head of Richarlison, but he couldn't generate the required accuracy. Calvert-Lewin very strong again against Mkhitaryan. Keeps it alive for Everton on the far side. Dinier's cross is too deep and over the top of everybody and the crossbar.
Yeah, disappointing delivery that from Digne. Did everything right, got down the left side, couldn't deliver the ball into the danger area. But no, it's been a really exciting first 15 minutes of this second half.
Arsenal have made the changes in terms of the shape and the personnel, and now as we get into the final half an hour, it becomes the point in the game at which they're going to have to take even more risks in trying to push forward, and that may leave those holes in behind once more for Everton to exploit.
You certainly feel like there's another goal in this game, certainly.
It could go either way.
Good play this from
There's along to Ramsey. They played right through the lines with some succinct passing. Mkhitaryan forced out wide, closed down by Digne. Great effort from Bernard to get back and take it off the toes of Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, great defending.
They have defended ever so well as a team, Everton. They've kept clean sheets in 4 of their last 5 games now. They've won 3 of those. And got a goalless draw against Liverpool as well. Today they're looking to keep a 3rd straight clean sheet for the first time all season. The improvements have been at both ends of the field for Marco Silva's team. Well, Arsenal in this position can ill afford to give the ball away that cheaply. A throw in on the far side, Maitland-Niles, who made that mistake just a few minutes ago at the back, throws it down the line to nobody in particular, and it goes straight behind for an Everton goal kick.
Yeah, it's a bit of miscommunication there. He thought one of his players were running down the line, just cut back inside and she threw it straight out of play.
Everton have also fired multiple goals in 4 of their last 5. And they're looking to get a second here as Richarlison gets in behind down the line, fizzes the cross in, pushed away by Leno, and it almost came to Sigurdsson on the edge of the box. Coleman, the latest, with a chance to cross. It's a really good ball as well. This time it does reach Sigurdsson, who swipes it from inside the D. First time left-footed volley, but he couldn't quite get his body shape right, and it flies over the top of the crossbar.
See, I love the simplicity of this break, and again, it's Jordan Pickford who fires it out. He really has. It's the old cliche about having every club in the bag. You know, we've seen so many times this afternoon where he's driving it into the defensive third of Arsenal, but that time he just clipped a lovely ball to the right back, played down the line. Richarlison whips it in. Leno can only half clear. That is a chance for the Sigurdsson, certainly with someone of his quality.
63.5 minutes on the clock here on Premier League Live. It remains Everton 1, Arsenal 0, as it has done since the 10th minute. Openings at both ends of the field so far here in the second half. Arsenal looking to create another. Monreal forward from left back, deep cross. They've got a man over on the back post. Digne did well to adjust to head it away, and Bernard completes the clearance. Calvert-Lewin gets his head to the ball, a towering leap, but there's nobody to connect with the flick on. He's not really had a chance on goal, has he, Calvert-Lewin? But the work he's done has been invaluable for Everton.
Yeah, it's just been just being that outlet, being that target man, and Arsenal really have struggled to deal with it.
Ramsey out to Monreal. He's one-on-one with Coleman, and Charlison gets back to help him. Monreal again. This time he will get the cross in over the top of Pickford, but over the top of Aubameyang as well. Maitland-Niles to try and keep it in play under pressure on the far side, and Digne right on top of him forces him into conceding the throw-in.
Not been the best few minutes for Maitland-Niles. Possibly could do a little bit better there to try and keep the ball in play.
He's 21 years of age, the product of the Arsenal Academy. Started the last few games at right wing back now, and
he's top left. I'm delighted to see that he's getting a chance, because he will be. And again, it's that catch-22. We see so many of these young players that aren't given a chance, but he's certainly got the quality to be a top Premier League player.
Lacazette back to Ramsey. Lacazette again, tremendous challenge from Jagielka. You wouldn't know, he's only played a few times this season, Phil Jagielka, and you certainly wouldn't know that he didn't know he was playing in this one until just before kick-off. Coleman coming forward. Richarlison flicks it over the top of Nacho Monreal, back to Coleman, who catches it with it on the near side by the corner flag. He'll try and play a 1-2 here, and does so admirably with Richarlison, although the ball just drifts out of play as he tried to get his head up and look to the back post.
It's a lovely flick again from Richarlison. Very, very clever to set Coleman free. Just drifted into an offside position, but again, we've seen a few of those in the last 10 minutes or so from Richarlison. Again, clever footballer, and he really has such ability.
Arsenal facing the prospect of more drop points away from home, where they've won just one of their last 8 games. They've lost half of those as well. At Manchester City, West Ham, Liverpool and Southampton. And they're losing here at Everton. Ramsey trying to change that. 30 yards out. Lovely sliding challenge to get back from Richarlison of all people. Ozil moves it out to Aubameyang. Haven't seen too much of him since half-time. Down the line it goes to Monreal. Gay is there to intercept the ball into the box towards Ozil, and Everton clear their lines again. Calvert-Lewin muscling his way past Socrates to get on the ball first and to bring teammates into play. And Arsenal don't have too many back here as it goes down the line to Bernard from Digne. Bernard looking to attack Maitland-Niles towards the far edge of the penalty area. Maitland-Niles falling backwards, was able to get a foot on the ball, but Everton still in possession. Here's Andre Gomez, lovely ball down the line to him. He whips it across the face of the 6-yard box, and Socrates was there rather awkwardly to get his body in the way.
Did well, Socrates. Good play from Everton down the left-hand side, very intricate. It was a good ball in.
Arsenal raise their quality. Everton have answered back here. It's Gay in the penalty area, deflected and out towards Richarlison. Midway point of the second half. Everton looking the more likely now. Richarlison looking to bend one, and Calvert-Lewin wasn't too sure where it was going. The answer was it was going wide, but he ducked out the way of it.
You can see what was on his mind there. Opened up onto his left foot. Could see that far corner beckoning. Just couldn't get the whip on it. The game has really opened up now. I mean, it needed to for Arsenal to try and generate some attacks that could create that equaliser, but of course in doing that it's going to mean that Everton get more chances. I mean, you do feel, it's 11 attempts to Everton, 6 to Arsenal. I feel like there is going to be another goal in this game, and you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, if it goes Arsenal's way, then we'll be on for a grandstand finish. If it goes Everton's way, you would feel that would be game over.
Arsenal yet to win on the road at a top half team this season. They've lost at Liverpool, Manchester City and Chelsea, drawn at Tottenham and Manchester United. So they have played their 5 games against the big 6 clubs, and they still have to finish this one and play Wolves, Watford and Leicester. And Everton coming forward again. Calvert-Lewin had Bernard in acres of space on the far side of the penalty area and tried to do it all himself.
I don't know how he hasn't seen him. Bernard would have been in one-on-one.
Aubameyang flicks it over the top of Jagielka's late challenge, then tries to hang it into the penalty area where Lacazette was arriving, but it was over his head and Zuma's too, and Everton will clear, and clear with a purpose as well, to Richarlison, who's finding the pockets of space again, as he was in the first half so frequently. One-on-one with Monreal. He passes it on to Sigurdsson just inside the near corner of the penalty area, tries to squeeze it under Socrates, gets it back, deflected and wide of the far post for an Everton corner.
End-to-end stuff, fantastic game. Fantastic game. Calvert-Lewin so frustrating the attack before, how he didn't see Bernard there, coming up alongside him, would have been one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Arsenal go up the other end. And then Everton, that's a great chance that for Sigurdsson, and credit to Socrates, it's a very good challenge to stop what would likely have been a second goal.
Arsenal really having to take those risks now of pushing bodies forward at every opportunity. Everton look in the mood to take advantage of that. They've done so to the effect of winning a corner this time. Digne's outswinger from the far side. Calvert-Lewin nodded it down, but Leno was right behind it. 20 minutes for Arsenal to try and turn this game around. Everton 1, Arsenal 0. Maitland-Niles, Ramsey. Everton yet to make a change. Arsenal with one substitution remaining, having made a double change at half-time. Here's Mkhitaryan cutting into the near corner of the penalty area, trying to shoot, and he caught it ever so sweetly, Henrik Mkhitaryan. It was skidding across the surface towards the far bottom corner, bending as well, but just wouldn't quite bend enough.
Yeah, good play from Mkhitaryan. You can see exactly what he was trying to do. Picked it up on this left-hand side, cut inside onto his right foot. It's a lovely strike. We're talking probably a foot, if that, wide of the left-hand post. I think Pickford would have been struggling if it was on target.
Can Arsenal find a way to breach the Everton barricades in these final 20 minutes? They've scored 27 goals across their 10-game winning streak at home, although just 14 across their last 10 games away and just 5 in their last 5 on the road. And nowhere near as effective as they are at the Emirates. They've been firing blanks so far here. Guendouzi to Socrates. Still time to change things. He moves it out to Monreal on the near side. Infield to Mkhitaryan, who turns away from Andre Gomez. It was a tired challenge from Andre Gomez, but certainly wasn't a tired challenge from Bernard, who came across from the far side to win it back, and Richarlison still full of energy as well. So much room down this right flank. 2 blue shirts arriving in the centre, and one of them was Gylfi Sigurdsson, who should have scored.
Should have been 2. Should have been 2. Well played from Richarlison. Came down the right hand side. It's a great ball inside, and he's a matter of 9 yards out, steaming in centre of the goal, and he puts it right down the throat of Bernd Leno.
All through the first half, Richarlison was getting into those positions and not picking the right ball. He certainly did that time. Although Sigurdsson, arriving onto it at pace in the penalty area, could only put it right down the centre of the goal.
I do wonder whether he may come to rue that miss, because that would have been game, set and match.
Only scored 4 goals in 27 Premier League appearances in his first season at Everton. He's got 12 this season, including 1 here in the win over Chelsea last month, and he should have had 1 here against Arsenal as well.
Yeah, he's come steaming in. He's actually caught it reasonably well, but of all the places he could have put it, straight at Leno.
Bernard coming down the left flank now with Digne on the overlap. Everton slow it down to a walking pace and just keep hold of it. Andre Gomez with Aubameyang trying to challenge him all the way back on the edge of his own penalty area. Bernard brings Idrissa Gueye into play, tries to skip around the big frame of Guendouzi, who did enough to intercept. Jagielka proactively defending over the top of Lacazette on halfway. Everton back with the ball at their feet. Idrissa Gueye. Aubameyang's almost like a holding midfielder right now, and pushes out to try and close down Digne. Bernard. Here's Gueye again, turning away from the challenge of Ramsey and going through the gears. Sigurdsson, a chance to shoot again, deflected. Richarlison, big chance for 2, and it's a poor attempt from Richarlison as he lost his balance at the vital moment, and he looks to be hurt again. as he puts it from about 8 yards out, 2 yards wide.
Oh, they're not going to get two better chances than this. The first one is a great block from Socrates, but the second chance for Richarlison has to do better. I mean, he's come in on the angle, but he's controlled it well. He's got plenty of time, and he's just fluffed his lines.
And Arsenal are going to make their final change, the final roll of the dice from Unai Emery. And Mesut Ozil, who was making just his third league start since September, is the player to make way. And Alex Iwobi, the player to come on for them. It's not worked, has it? The Ozil experiment away from home?
No, he's been pretty ineffective. Should be frustrating for the Arsenal fans. So good at home.
And Arsenal so good at home, but so poor away. And all that cost them a Champions League spot. Everton won, Arsenal 0 with a quarter of an hour to play.
The good news for Arsenal is that, look, 1 goal, 15 minutes to go. They've still got a great chance, but they really shouldn't have a great chance. Everton have had several chances, really should be 2, 3, maybe even 4 up.
Sigurdsson and Richarlison both arguably should have scored within the last 5 minutes. Richarlison is moving a little gingerly, but still on the pitch. Here's Gay to receive it from Coleman's throw. Richarlison looking to get in behind again. And coming in behind to sweep the ball away with Socrates. Zuma had to be a good touch away from Mkhitaryan, and was, as he goes back to the goalkeeper Pickford. And one of Pickford's passes goes astray.
Not been many today. Distribution's been very good.
Unai Emery playing the role of ball boy to try and get it back as quickly as possible for Arsenal. That's his shouting you can perhaps hear on our FX microphones. Desperately trying to direct traffic and usher his team forward. Iwobi skipping in between two challenges brilliantly from Iwobi. Lacazette on the angle, tried to pull it back towards Aubameyang, and Zuma was there to intercept and to clear. Taken down by Socrates. Guendouzi moves it on. Everton need to dig deep defensively. Iwobi providing the spark here, having just come on, dribbling in field again, clips it towards the back post, headed away by Digne. Mkhitaryan receives it anyway off the far corner of the penalty area. Now he'll try and usher his way into the penalty area. Can't squeeze through a gap. Everton now, the gaps open up for them on the counter-attack. Calvert-Lewin turning, options left and right. He picks out Andre Gomez on the left. Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin in the centre. Arsenal trying to get back in transition and do get bodies back behind the ball. And that's the game in a nutshell now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Everton have got an injury concern, but they're playing on for now.
It's Digne, I think, is it?
Digne's down.
Like
holding his ankle.
He's been down for a good minute or so now. I do wonder whether that was why Andre Gomez turned round then, because it seemed like a reasonably dangerous attack, and he just then turned round, played the ball back into midfield, and that was the end of that attack. We're just seeing the challenge again. Yeah, it does look like he's struggling a bit.
Mkhitaryan trying to dribble past him, landed awkwardly on him, and Everton may be forced into their first substitution. We've got Leighton Baines on the bench. I'm having a look at the dribbling ability of Iwobi, who's provided a real spark for Arsenal as he slipped in Lacazette on the angle, but Zuma stood firm. Unai Emery's blowing a fuse, isn't he, on the edge of his technical area. That sums up Arsenal's day so far. It's been a very frustrating one.
Well, he must be so frustrated. You know, we spoke about their home form. Yeah. And it is a strange one, why they appear to be so different away from home than they are at home.
Theo Walcott is ready to come on for Everton. They're going to wait, I think, are they, to make that change. 12 minutes of the 90 to play here on Premier League Live. They are going to make it now. Everton leading by a goal to nil. Richarlison is the player to make way for Walcott. It's been a mixed bag from him today. Plenty of moments of promise, but not the end product.
Exactly that. In a few moments of brilliance in the second half, but he has had a couple of great opportunities that he wasn't able to make the most of. Similarly, a couple of good positions where his final ball let him down. You can certainly see what is there and what could be with Richarlison, but you certainly feel if he could kick on another level, he could be one of the best players in the Premier League with what he's got.
Theo Walcott, a very capable replacement on the right wing. And it comes on against his former team, of course, a £20 million signing from Arsenal back in January of last year. Hit double figures in the Premier League in his last full season with Arsenal, but he's managed just 6 goals in 45 league appearances with Everton so far.
Quite a positive reception from the Arsenal fans.
A few boos as well.
One or two.
Guendouzi. Final 10 minutes approaching here. Socrates. Arsenal trying to figure out the best way of getting the ball forward over halfway. Guendouzi to Ramsey. Ramsey, of course, another player that will be departing the Gunners in the summer. He'll move to Juventus on a free. It's going to be a huge loss for them. Socrates again. Only really the Arsenal defenders and holding midfield player Guendouzi having the ball at the moment as they try and then quicken the pace of this attack and move into Everton territory. Lovely play from Iwobi again. Back from Mkhitaryan to Ramsey. And a really good effort, not for the first time from Bernard defensively to intercept. And Everton are coming forward now. Walcott has only just come on with those fresh legs. Getting forward, picks out the right pass. Far side is Bernard. Pulls the trigger, left foot into the near post. Stopped by Leno again.
It's another chance. It's a good ball from Theo Walcott. First contribution since he's come on. It's a well-weighted ball. Again, Coleman should do slightly better.
Everton having chance after chance on the counter, but not clinical enough so far to put Arsenal away. Guendouzi looking for a cross from a deep position. Instead he clings onto it and shifts it across to Maitland-Niles. Guendouzi again, Mkhitaryan. Nice triangular passes from Arsenal, but without really going anywhere for now. And Arsenal have a player down now. They'll play on as it goes out towards Iwobi. 4 red shirts in the penalty area. Iwobi gets the cross towards the back post. Headed back towards Mkhitaryan, but steered away by Idrissa Gueye. How many challenges and clearances and interceptions has he made today? Now what a run from Calvert-Lewin. Across on the far side, he got away. He was going in behind, and he was clipped right on the sideline.
There's a coming together of the two managers as well, I think.
Right in front of the 2 technical areas. It's a yellow card only, but it looked like he had the freedom of Goodison to race into had he been able to get on the end of his own flick.
That's brilliant from Calvert-Lewin, by the way. It was actually, it's a naughty challenge, really naughty challenge, because you're right, he was away, could well have been in on goal. He's only at the halfway line, which is why it's booking, but brilliant play from Calvert-Lewin before that to actually force the ball out wide. And then the work rate, his work rate all afternoon has been fantastic.
You'd have to say it's a good foul from Mustafi, because there would have been cavalry arriving in the penalty area for Everton as well. Mustafi receives the yellow card.
But also from an Everton point of view, again, that's another minute that has wound down because of that. It's very good from Calvert-Lewin.
82 on the clock. Everton 1, Arsenal 0. It's been that way since Jagielka's goal in the 10th minute. Calvert-Lewin taking it down well on his chest in space this time. Sigurdsson showed strength against Mkhitaryan. Bernard. All of those Everton forward players dovetailing so well here today. It's a lovely move, and it very nearly found its way to Bernard before the interception. And Arsenal will try and catch Everton off guard now with Iwobi coming forward. Over on this near side, he tries to burst away from Coleman with the fresh legs. Coleman's grabbing his shirt. Needs to let go of it before the referee sees. And in the end, he got his body between the Arsenal player and the ball, and a goal kick is the decision.
It is. Iwobi wasn't happy because he grabbed his shirt. It was a little bit of obstruction. Iwobi had him for pace. Coleman knew that, and it's clever defending. He's got in between the man, and ball. He's able to shepherd it out.
Listen to the noise from the Everton faithful now. 83.5 minutes on the clock. Jordan Pickford inevitably taking his time over the goal kick. Arsenal have improved in the second half, but I think you'd still have to say Everton deserve to be ahead.
Yeah, no, certainly. Arsenal had to come out. They had to come out and try and get this equaliser. They've certainly been an improvement on the first half, but they have been that little bit more open.
Digne, Sigurdsson, lovely flick. They're turning it on now. Andre Gomez shoots from range wide of the target.
Yeah, great play again. Really intricate passing. Very clever play from Everton. It opened up nicely for Andre Gomez. Again, with the strike that he has on him, you expect him to do a little bit better. Ends up going about 3 or 4 yards wide of the right-hand post.
That was Everton's 18th attempt on goal to Arsenal's 7th. They've had 5 on target to Arsenal's 2. There's a few disenchanted looks on the Arsenal bench. Mesut Ozil, who's been taken off, and Unai Emery in front of him.
Well, look, this could be a huge blow. If they were to lose this in that race for the top 4 finish, all of a sudden it changes again.
Mkhitaryan to Lacazette. Can he conjure up room to shoot? He's dribbling across the edge of the penalty area in a pack of blue shirts, and eventually one of them takes it off his toes. Andre Gomez able to turn. And then to release Walcott here on the near side. Again, the Arsenal defenders facing their own goal. Walcott digs it towards the back post. They've got a player arriving. Sigurdsson just couldn't quite clip it back to Bernard. But it is going to be an Everton corner.
Arsenal aren't happy. Maitland-Niles saying he didn't touch it. Clever play from Theo Walcott. He's cutting on that right-hand side. It's a nice little dink ball to the far post. Didn't quite get it to Sigurdsson. But it's positive play. He's had a positive impact since he's come on, Theo Walcott.
There's going to be another yellow card here for something I think that somebody has said to the referee. They're racking up now those bookings for Arsenal. This one for Nacho Monreal.
Again, it's all good news for Everton. We're inside the last 5 minutes. They've got a corner. Just want to keep the ball at this end of the field.
Continue to take it. Outswinger headed towards Walcott, who drives it across goal, and it's blocked by Monreal. Another Everton corner on this near side.
Vital block. I think that's Nestling in the corner if he doesn't get the block. Again, it's another great chance. He shouldn't have that much free time in the penalty box though. He's only about 7 or 8 yards from goal. He had a good 5 or 6 yards all to himself.
And so long as Everton are attacking, they're not defending. Only 4 minutes of the 90 to play. Gylfi Sigurdsson to take the one from the near side. He hands it up, it's headed towards goal, but just wide. Now both sets of players are appealing, and an Everton corner. Here's the decision, as the reaction from Goodison will tell you.
Well, this is the way to close out a game, just keep getting corner after corner. It creates so many issues when Sigurdsson puts it into that danger area. Arsenal have struggled with this all day.
Everton scored from a set play early on. Can they score from one late on as well to seal the 3 points here on Merseyside? Sigurdsson once more. It's a towering leap, but he couldn't quite leap high enough. Kurt Zouma to get over the top of the ball. He was free though.
He was free, and actually Calvert-Lewin was just behind him. He would have had a better header, but of course he couldn't quite let him know in time, and in the end he was stretching for the header and put it over the bar.
Bernard has been superb today, but he's going to make way for the final few minutes. Ademola Lookman comes on. And listen to that rapturous round of applause from the Everton fans here for Bernard.
Yeah, well deserved. Been very good today.
Lookman, another talented youngster, just 21 years of age. A good spell on loan at RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga last season. He comes on for the final few minutes of this. Just 2 minutes of the 90 remaining. Walcott. Coleman down the line. Andre Gomez looking to drive straight at Socrates, who got an important foot on the ball, rather unorthodox defending, but effective enough. Arsenal's first challenge here is to get the ball back. Something to chase for Sigurdsson in behind. Mustafi turns it back to Leno. We've got around 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to play. Monreal just inside his own half, slots it forward to Aubameyang. Coleman turning away from Iwobi though and going back to Pickford. We've hardly seen Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in this second half.
We haven't at all. Really hasn't been able to get into it.
He started out on the left, he's down the centre with Lacazette now, but he's been anonymous in both positions. Long ball forward towards him and Lacazette headed away by Jagielka. Andre Gomez beaten to the ball was Mkhitaryan, who's trying to get back at Andre Gomez and fouls, and that really is the last thing he wants to do from that position, because Everton could take their time over the free kick if they wanted. As it happens, they take it quickly and have belief in their own ability to keep the ball as they pass it around nicely. Nice ball from Sigurdsson, and they'll try and cling on to it over on the far side. Blue shirts arriving in the penalty area. Idrissa Gueye a little deeper to receive it. Back to Lookman, and he was offside.
Can't have been a lot in that. But again, it's a few more seconds wasted.
And Everton will try and waste a few more by making their final change. Gylfi Sigurdsson makes way. Had a glorious chance to double Everton's advantage, and he will hope from the bench now that doesn't come back to haunt them in the closing stages as he gets replaced by the young midfielder Tom Davies. Davies, the ability to perhaps help Everton tighten up a little defensively.
5 minutes additional time.
So with some more of an offensive player, we are into the first of 5 additional minutes at the end of the 90 here. The ball's bouncing around the edge of the Everton penalty area before being cleared by Kurt Zouma. Emery saves it on the far side, quickly into the hands of Maitland-Niles to take a throw. And Arsenal in a real hurry now. Another one of those damaging stats for Arsenal away from home is they haven't kept a clean sheet away from home all season. They're the only team in the Premier League to fail to do so. And it looks like just the one goal could cost them all 3 points here today. They do have a free kick in their own left-back position that they get set to take quickly. They'll have to take another one. Everton doing everything they can to disrupt Arsenal's rhythm.
Yeah, just trying to kill a few seconds. Tom Davies quite clever there. Just helping kill a few more seconds.
Picked off by Lookman. A chance to drive forward for Everton again. Calvert-Lewin in the centre. Davies in support as well. The step-overs. He tries to take it away towards the byline where Mustafi was forced into the challenge to concede the corner.
Yeah, good play from Lookman. Coming on the angle, you can see that Mustafi is struggling. Certainly hasn't got the energy that Lookman has, so he just targets him one-on-one, went round him. Socrates does well to make the challenge, but of course it gives Everton a corner, another opportunity to waste a few more seconds.
And still sending the centre-backs up Everton, although they take the corner short. Jagielka has gone back, Zouma has gone into the penalty area, Everton win another corner.
Yeah, very good.
And we're almost at the halfway point now of the 5 added minutes. They've managed this game ever so well from start to finish, Everton. Okay, down the line, if Lookman can catch up with it, he can't. It's out to play for an Arsenal throw. And they're running out of time now, 2.5 minutes to play. Ball very much at the wrong end of the field as far as Unai Emery's team are concerned. Leno hammers it long. Jagielka has been a warrior at the back for Everton today. His goal looks like it might just have given the Toffees all 3 points. Davies flicks it on. Hook back in though. More defending to do for Everton. Guendouzi to try and take it down in his chest, and he was fouled by Tom Davies. Arsenal free kick just off the edge of the centre circle.
Looks like they put everyone in the box here.
We've got about a minute and a half to play. It's hung into the box, headed away by Zuma. Andre Gomes to reach it now, just needs to keep hold of it, and the points belong to Everton. Can he pick out a teammate on this near side? He does. It drops at the feet of Theo Walcott. Lovely flick from him, and he plays the 1-2 with Davies, the two substitutes combining. The sensible thing would just be to dribble it towards the corner flag now. Walcott trying to do that as he's pressed by Iwobi. He won't be able to pick his pocket. Still 70 seconds or so of added time for Arsenal to come forward the full length of the field. They're struggling to get it over halfway though. Coleman pinches it back. Here's Walcott. He gets the cross in this time, and it has to be turned away at the near post. It's Everton looking the more likely right now. Davies pinches it back off Ramsey, no free kick. And a fantastic block in the end from Socrates, otherwise that would have been that. And now Arsenal can come forward. One final chance perhaps to release Aubameyang, but a wonderful interception again. And Everton get the ball back, just over 30 seconds to play. Idrissa Gueye, edge of the penalty area. Can they finish it in style? Not quite. Leno quickly bowls it out. This is it now.
You just wonder whether they might regret putting so many men forward there.
Guendouzi down the line to Aubameyang. Pressed by Zuma. He's got the pace to try and get away from him, and Zuma goes to the deck, puts in a challenge and concedes a corner. This is it, now or never for Arsenal.
Last chance, they'll get a chance to fire this corner in. I do wonder whether Everton will regret putting so many men forward and going for the jugular. They could have just held it up in the corner and it probably would have been game over.
We're into the 6th added minute. Mkhitaryan's corner, the outswinger, headed by Calvert-Lewin, cleared away, and that will do it. Arsenal's Achilles heel cripples them again like a freight train at the Emirates, but they've come off the rails on the road once more. Phil Jagielka's goal in the 10th minute, the difference, as Everton beat Arsenal by a goal to nil. It's been a pleasure having your company. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it. Oh, it's a goal. It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. Is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Has a run of Sterling to find, and he does find him in the area. Raheem Sterling for a hat-trick here! And the hat-trick is gobbled up by Raheem Sterling. What a player this young man is.
Tries to play it forward. Hayward puts it up in the air. Comes down. Chance for 3-2. It is 3-2. Perez scores again. Well, it's times to be a Geordie fan from 2-0 down to 3-2 up.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Really good delivery from Knocko. Here's the ball into the back of the net. And Antony has scored for Brighton. There is the breakthrough.
And Wolves win possession through Jimenez. Jimenez is going to go himself. There's another chance here. Go for 2-0 possibly. Jimenez! Raul Jimenez, 2-0 to Wolves. And Cardiff are now all at sea.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
First time touch trying to find Lukaku. He's broken his way and Lukaku's bent it into the bottom corner for what may well prove to be the winning goal in the final minute of the 90.
He's usually unerring from the spot. Harry Kane, he's scored all his last 5 spot kicks. He faces Bernd Leno and scores again. And Tottenham Hotspur have levelled with 16 minutes to go. Harry Kane has now got 9 goals in 9 games against the Gunners. It's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Arsenal 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the Ultimate Football Fan Tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
The Emirates FA Cup with Talk Sport.
The 1960 FA Cup winners take the lead in the quarter-final. What a finish from Raul Jimenez.
The world's oldest and best cup competition.
Just over 10 minutes to go, and he's only just on as a substitute, and Andre Gray finds the back of the net, and Watford could be on their way to Wembley.
History will be made.
And that's it! Millwall's FA Cup run is over, and Brighton go through to the FA Cup semi-final on a penalty shootout.
The Emirates FA Cup with Talk Sport live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Watford against Wolverhampton Wanderers from Wembley Stadium. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, and alongside me, the former West Ham, Cardiff and Crystal Palace defender, Danny Gabardon. This is Emirates FA Cup semi-final live. We have just kicked off. It's Watford 0, Wolves 0, and already a decent chance, to put it mildly, for Wolves. Johnny Otto, their left wing-back, with a curling effort just wide of John Ruddy's goal. It was a really decent effort from Wolves, who have already certainly put a start to this game that is full of meaningful intent. We've got Wolves kicking from right to left in the first half in their change kit, so they're all white with a tiny bit of black trim. At a Wembley Stadium that is a buzzing atmosphere, I've got to say. It's Raul Jimenez tries to put some pressure on the left back, Jose Holebas. Watford in their traditional yellow, black and red. Referee is Michael Oliver. It's 0-0 with a minute and 25 seconds played, and already, Danny Gabardon, Wolves not far away from taking the lead. Great play from Otto.
Yeah, really bright start from Wolves on the front foot, and I did wonder personally who might play on that left-hand side. Ruben Vinagre has played a few Premier League games here recently and done really well. Looks a really good prospect, but Johnny just come in, maybe a bit more experience for this one, getting himself forward, cutting inside onto that right foot of his, just looking for that far corner, not too far away from Aurelio Gomez's far post there. Really good start.
Now Watford trying to reply in kind. Kiko Firmino finding Roberto Pereira, who tries to slide one through to Will Hughes. Takes a little deflection and dribbles out for a corner. So Wolves already close, and Watford responding in kind, winning their first corner of the game. I'll take this opportunity to start running through the lineups. Watford, first of all, 2 changes to their 4-1 Premier League win that relegated Fulham in midweek, and 1 change to their FA Cup quarter-final victory against Crystal Palace. It's Aurelio Gomez in goal, Kiko Firmino, Adrian Mariappa, Craig Cathcart and Jose Holebas, Will Hughes, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Etienne Capoue and Roberto Pereira, Andre Gray and Troy Deeney, Yanmat Delafeu, Sima, Kina, Foster and Kabasele. The bench will come to the Wolves lineup in a second as Watford prepare to swing in the first corner of the game. Left-footed from Holebas, it's a decent looking delivery, and John Ruddy gets both fists on it and punches it clear for Wolves. It's put straight back into the penalty area by Watford, and Ruddy claims that one well. Solid keeping from, let's be fair, the cup keeper, not the first choice keeper.
Yeah, fair play to Nuno Espirito Santo as well. Cup semi-final would have been easy for him to go with his number 1, Rui Patricio, but he's been true to his number 2, John Ruddy, and really commanding keeping there. It's a ball in from Pereira and to the far post, really commanding keeper, taking charge of that situation and proving his worth in those early minutes.
So Wolves back in possession. They have made 3 changes to their Premier League 2-1 victory against Manchester United last time out, and named the same 11 for their FA Cup 6 rounds 2-1 victory against Manchester United just a few days prior. We'll tell you that team in a second, but it's Johnny Otto back in possession once more as he slides the ball through. It's more promising play from Wolves, who really are looking silky in and around the edge of the penalty area. Diego Jota this time was the man who tried to get his shot away. Foul conceded, and already we can see how Wolves have got this incredibly impressive attacking endeavour, haven't they?
Yeah, it was just sloppy there. I think it was Decore with a sloppy ball just on the edge of his 18-yard box, a square ball just went straight to Johnny. He plays the ball then into a nice pocket of space for Jota, and he gets turned, and it's just, I think it's Mariappa just stepping out of that centre-back position. He's just trying to win the ball there, so it's really good feet from Jota, just skips by him and has to commit the foul in a dangerous area.
So Diogo Jota wins the free kick for Wolves. Lining it up potentially is João Moutinho, another of the Portuguese contingent, the talented player. Beady eyes, he's eyeing up the opportunity. Also over the ball is Ruben Neves, but looks to me as if João Moutinho is the one who right-footed fancies this free kick. Edge of the D. Right-footed, curling effort. Oh, it's just onto the roof of the net. Lovely dipping effort from Moutinho, foot lower. And I think that Gomez could have been in all sorts of trouble.
Well, I don't think Gomez is getting across to that. It's wonderful technique from Moutinho, more than capable from that distance. Sometimes we're saying maybe it's a little bit too close to get it up and down over the wall, but he's attempting that. Gets the initial bit right over the wall, just can't get that dip, but not too far away.
He's a double Portuguese Cup winner during his time in Portugal. I think quite like the FA Cup, with all due respect though. This is such a huge occasion, near full Wembley for this one. It's a very, very special afternoon. It's great to have you with us wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to Emirates FA Cup semi-final live. So Hargreaves and Danny Gavin at TalkSport Live, by the way. Drop us a tweet, we love to hear from you. Wherever you're listening around the world, please get in touch, and we will read out the best of the tweets throughout the course of this FA Cup semi-final. Wolves just slowly playing the ball out from the back. Watford pressing and endeavouring to put them under pressure. Tough tackles flying in on halfway. Watford eventually emerge with the ball, shoving the back on Will Hughes by Moutinho. It's going to be a Watford free kick this time around, so I'll take the opportunity to give you the Wolves lineup. John Ruddy is in goal, Roman Saiz, Willy Bowley and captain Connor Cody at the back, Matt Doherty and Johnny Otto the wing backs, Leonardo Dendoncker, João Moutinho and Ruben Neves in midfield, with Diego Jota supporting the prolific Raul Jimenez up front. On the bench, Bennett, Caballero, Helder Costa, Gibbs White, Vinag, Norris and Traore. Yes, Watford free kick. It's nowhere near as an attacking position as Wolves had a few minutes ago. It's closer to halfway. Still a chance for the Hornets to maybe bend something in and put Wolves under pressure. It's going to be swung in by Jose Holebas once more, the man who took the corner earlier. The Greek left-footed, decent-looking delivery. Volley's up there, but still Watford come forward. Hughes up there on the edge of the area. Powerful header clear from Wolves. Watford win it again about 25-30 yards out. Full of intent, the Hornets, aren't they, when they get their opportunity?
Yeah, good delivery from Holebas. Equally as good defending from Willy Bowley. Big, powerful header, important header on the far post. Just looked like Mariappa was going to seal a yard in on the back post there, but a really commanding header.
And the Watford captain, Troy Deeney, feels that he should have won a corner in the far corner as he tried to play the ball off one of the Wolves defenders who had rushed out to him. Deeney is such a massive figure in this game, isn't he? Alongside Andre Gray, rather than Gerard Deulofeu. That's perhaps the one really tight call that Xavi Gracia has gone with.
Yeah, I think midweek he actually came off early. Deulofeu wasn't really doing his defensive work, and Xavi Gracia said, no, you're coming off, son. Andre Gray, I have to say, has been very good in recent weeks, coming off the bench, making an impact. So that was a dilemma, I suppose, that he had, the one dilemma, and he's gone with Andre Gray. And I mentioned there Troy Deeney, since the turn of the year, has been in fantastic form.
Yeah, absolutely resurgent in a serious heartbeat as Watford tried to counter-attack after Wolves had walked the ball downfield, but the Wolves defenders quickly then scurrying around their Watford opposite numbers and winning the ball back. I think this pitch coverage early on, the intensity and denying each other time and space on the ball is critical. Both teams trying to stop the other from settling.
Yeah, well, everyone's saying, before kick-off that this is going to be a tight game, could go all the way, penalties could be involved. Nothing really to separate the two teams in the Premier League. Their record is almost identical. Wins, losses, goals kind of scored and stuff, so you can see this one being a really tight game. But I have to say Wolves have looked more comfortable in these opening minutes, and maybe their record kind of at Wembley proves that very good record. I think it's unbeaten in 6 at Wembley, Wolves. So certainly looking more comfortable in these opening minutes, and Watford just looking slightly nervous, particularly defensively.
Yeah, you're spot on. Wolves on a 6-match winning run here at Wembley. Watford have lost their last 4 and only won one of their last 6 visits to either Wembley Stadium. So it's a stat, I know, but it's one, and you've got 2 evenly matched teams that could prove telling over the course of the next few minutes. Here's Roberto Pereira, who was an injury down. He's been brought down there by a clattering challenge from Saiss. Saiss, who's already got blood trickling from the edge of his lip, and Roman Saiss goes into the book already. The Moroccan pleads with the referee to try and avoid that yellow card. To look at the replay, and brings down Pereira right in front of the ref.
Yeah, he can have no complaints. He's late. Really good skill from Pereira, as you said. He wasn't dead before the game. He is a key man for Watford. We mentioned Troy Deeney, but he's equally as important. And lovely skill there. Just gets on the half turn, ball played into him, just skips away there from Saiss, and he's late. And that's a simple decision for Michael Oliver, as I said, yellow card.
So first yellow card of the game, and Saiss now receiving treatment on that cut lip as well. And it's a pretty deep cut. I'm sure in a game of this calibre, this magnitude, you're desperate to stay on. Danny, you've obviously played at Wembley. It was in the playoff final, wasn't it?
It was actually, yeah. So one of the losses that Watford had, you mentioned the record, it hasn't been great. One of the losses was actually against Crystal Palace. I was involved in that game, Championship playoff final. That was a very tight game, I have to say, as well, which we managed to kind of nick.
7-8 years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a penalty from the veteran Kevin Phillips that decided that, and I've actually spoken to Troy Deeney since that game as well, and he did mention the nerves that they had during that game, and he really did kind of underperform himself individually, said, and a lot of that was down to the nerves of the occasion.
Now, free kick is taken short by Watford this time. It's punted by Capoue. Is it just about kept in play? The answer is yes. Eventually the flag goes up and the ball had just flown out of play, despite the best efforts of Kika Femenia, who strained his right foot at it but couldn't quite keep it in. Watford will be kicking themselves there. They didn't really make the most of this, did they?
Yeah, it's sort of one from the training ground. It was one just laid back, and then you're seeing 3 or 4 runners making late runs, and the ball's kind of dinked down the left-hand kind of channel side of the 18-yard box of Wolves, and it was Femenia just making that overlapping run, and the ball was just slightly over here. He did really well to get any connection on it, to be fair, but the ball just slightly just went out of play there.
Wherever you're listening around the world, 11 minutes played here at Wembley. It's Watford 0, Wolves 0. Welcome to the home of English football for what is a huge game. Remember, the right to play Manchester City in the 2019 Emirates FA Cup final. That's on Saturday, May the 18th. City beating Brighton in a tighter game than many thought by a 1-0 yesterday, thanks to that early goal from Gabriel Jesus. Watford Wolves, many expect to be a far tighter and closer and more thrilling affair. Had its compulsive nature to its viewing yesterday. It wasn't as bad a game as some made out, I felt.
Obviously Man City getting an early goal. I think a lot of people turned off that first goal went into. I think Brighton was 4-4, but Brighton did well. They stayed in the game. Could have had 1 or 2 moments go their way. The Kyle Walker decision on VAR was a lucky one. 1 or 2 chances from set pieces.
There was Laporte's obviously denying of Murray. That was critical.
Yeah, but that's Man City for you, I suppose. It's so difficult to play against. So if you go 1-0 down early, do you then open up and come out, and then you maybe concede 2 or 3, the game goes away from you? I thought what Brighton did was probably the only thing that they could do, really, and gave a good account of themselves.
So 1-0 that one finished to Manchester City. Earlier in the Premier League, if you missed it, huge blow to Arsenal's top 4 hopes, losing 1-0 against Everton, whose resurgence continues. That's suddenly 3 straight wins under Marco Silva. This, though, is the second FA Cup final, semi-final, as the ball just trickles out of play. Remember, at TalkSport Live, keep your tweets coming in. Warren B, good morning from Memphis, Tennessee. Wolves to win this one 2-0. Wolves to come out victorious today as well, says EJ. So at TalkSport Live, drop us your prediction of the game. Whenever you're listening around the world, let us know where and how you think it's going to pan out. We will read out the best of them over the course of the game. 2 teams who, Danny, have had a really good season, 7th and 8th, best outside the top 6, no question, and so little between them over this season as well, which makes this all the more intriguing.
Yeah, both teams have been superb, both managers have done fantastic jobs. Obviously Wolves new to the Premier League, it's been difficult for them at times, but Nuno Espirito Santo has done a fantastic job for the football that they play, but it's so organised as well. I think both teams are very similar with that. They have individually very good players, but both managers, the way they set their teams up, very organised, very difficult to beat. Every player knows their job. Very hard work in both sides, which is why this is a really hard one to call for me.
We've got, Danny's laughing, so we've got the Watford fans away to our left, and they've brought a massive kettle drum with them. And there's a couple of drummers who are giving it absolutely every sinew. They're beating away, and it really has raised that left-hand side of the crowd where the Watford contingent are, and we can actually hear it still echoing around.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic support. Very similar to, actually, you mentioned the playoff final. They were a very good team kind of that season under Gianfranco Zola, but fantastic support to Wembley that day. So you can see what it means to both teams, and Wolves probably wouldn't expect to be in this position, being a newly promoted team. You're just looking